I didn't see, but on the front assembly here there is another board. This one, and there is another small board. This is probably a power supply filtering. There are two caps and a coil in the middle here. So I think this is the oscillator for the helium lamps. Okay, so this is a very simple circuit. I don't see any ICs, so there are only a few transistors, some passive parts. First, I will do reverse engineering of this board. This transformer is effectively a high voltage transformer which permits the ignition of the helium lamp. This transformer delivers the voltage of 1500 volts. This is an auto-oscillating system. You can see the transformer here. One is a high voltage secondary which is fed to the helium lamp. The second one is a feedback which permits the oscillation of that system. You can see the feedback using this capacitor here. This is the circuit of that board. This is the board A3. There is an input here which permits to activate this power supply. The frequency is normally about 52 kHz. After a given time, the high voltage is replaced by a high frequency generator, which is this board here. So I have done the complete reverse engineering of this board also. So this part looks like a transistor, but it is a crystal actually. You can see the frequency which is written on that part, 49.6 MHz. The complete schematic is here. So the crystal is on the left here. There are different stages. This is the first transistor which permits the oscillation of the crystal. After that, the signal is amplified using this transistor and these two power transistors. There are these transistors in golden package here. These two transistors. And there is a control of the output power. You can see this transistor, this PNP transistor connected to the collector of this one. So this permits to modify the bias current of this transistor and to adjust the output power, which is on that point, which is fed to the helium lamp. So you can see that there is a measurement of the output voltage using this diode. This voltage is fed to this differential amplifier. The second leg of the differential amplifier is at a constant voltage using this resistor and these three Zener diodes connected to the negative rail, which is the ground actually. The voltage of the differential amplifier is fed to this voltage to current converter, and this generates the bias current. So this system is adjusted in order to have a constant voltage at this point here. We can see also on this generator that there is a signal here on pin N, which is actually the signal of the feedback winding. It is a little bit filtered using this resistor and this capacitor, and this is fed to another circuit, which is the summing amplifier. It is on that page. So this is the preamplifier which permits to have the sum of three signals. The first one is the photodiode signal. So the photodiodes are here. We will see next time how this thing works. On that line, there is an image of the sum of the 6 photodiode currents. So the frequency is 430 Hz or 860 Hz when the system is locked. On the second line, there is effectively the 52 kHz ignition lamp. So this permits the detection of a failure of that system. So normally, we should have a 52 kHz ignition signal at startup when the device is turned on. And after a while, the signal should disappear. And the third signal is a pressure signal we have seen on my previous video. So the signal is effectively around 5 kHz. So I will reinstall everything, and after that I will try to power on this system. At that time I have done the complete reverse engineering of that system, so I think I have understood more or less everything. So it should be possible to perform some tests. I have found that one photodiode here is left open, and effectively the photodiodes are connected on that plate here. There is one common point, which is a black wire, which is connected to the ground, and the anodes of the photodiodes correspond to the red wires, this one, and this one. And we can see that effectively one is left open. So we can see that this one has a direct voltage of 0.42 volts approximately. This one also 0.38, but the last one is left open. One wire is broken, but I think it is when I tried to remove this thing, it was attached to that point here, so this is not a big problem. The helium lamp is normally here. We can see the lamp here. For each sensor on the front there is a lens, and we cannot see, but we should find a polarizer just below the lens here, and also a filter. In the middle here there is the cell itself, which contains helium, and we can see also that there are two connections. In order to have the optical pumping, the helium atoms inside the cell should be in a metastable condition. This is why a part of the high frequency signal which is used for the helium lamp is fed to the cell. So one is connected to the ground, these two signals here, and the other signal is connected to the high frequency signal at 49.6 MHz. And we can see that this point is connected to this RC network. This is a parallel RC network. And I have checked that each point here is connected to the high frequency voltage used for the helium lamp. So this permits to keep the atoms inside the cell in a metastable state. And on the rear there is the photodiode itself, one for each cell. And we can see, of course, something very important is a coil here. So in that pair of cells there is only one coil which is used in the middle here. The goal is to apply an AC current flowing through the coil in the middle here, and for a given frequency there will be a change of the opacity of the helium cell here. The change of the opacity is detected using the photodiode. The goal is to find this particular frequency which permits to have a maximum absorption of the cell, that is to say a minimum signal on the photodiode here, and the resonant frequency is proportional to the magnetic field. So that corresponds to a frequency of 1.4 MHz for a magnetic field of 50 microteslas. So this corresponds to the mean value of the Earth's magnetic field. And you can see that the magnetic field generated by the coil is very weak. So you can see that there are two resistors of 390 ohms here in series with the coil, and the coil has only 2 turns, you can see. So the magnetic field generated by the current flowing through the coil is very weak. So now let's have a look on the photodiode, because normally one doesn't work. Okay, so actually it seems that there are two photodiodes. One here, there is a voltage of 0.55 volt, and another one 0.43. Let's see the other one. Okay, so this one is open. The second one also. Okay, so the faulty detector is this one here. Okay, with the sticker. So let's remove this one. We can see the helium cell, and as you can see, this thing seems broken on both sides. So we can see here the filter. This is the photodiode. Okay, we can see, so this is the working photodiode. You can see the two small wires here and here, which permits the connection between the photodiode itself and the wires. And we can see this one doesn't have these connections. They have disappeared. This is very strange. So effectively, these two connections are left open. So we can see that there are effectively two photodiodes, one in the middle here, this large area, and another one around the first one here with a smaller area.